Good.
Well, no,
You can always blame it on me.
Jay's
I mean,
byline.
I want to make a point about
Hold on one sec. Hold on.
what kind of publicity you can expect. And as a writer, there's 4 kinds of publicity you're going to get. Number 1 is news. You've been hired, you've been fired, you've been signed, you're polishing a script.
How much money?
How much money
you got paid?
This is news, okay? The second kind we call trend stories, and that's what us publicists have to work for. A trend story is former strippers turned in and what they have become in the entertainment world. People who were in burlesque, or it could be housewives who wrote a script in there. Whatever the angle is, you find 3 of something, and we call that a trend, okay? And you're either you're either with the trend or you're against the trend. You can do against the trend stories.
good.
Right. So you got news, you got trend. The third thing is when you get to be big, like Melissa or Diablo, you get your big feature story. Okay? And those, you have to get the other little things to get the big things. The big things just don't come out of the ether and they go, I want to put you in Vanity Fair, and Graydon doesn't call you, and it doesn't work like that. And the fourth kind is where it's content creation, where you write a blog or you write an op-ed or you write a posting for something else. Those are the 4 kinds of publicity you can really expect. So what it means is when you have news, you have to work with your agent, and almost every agent in this town has a publicity firm they work with. Work with them to make sure that it's out there, that you get the credit.
I'm really curious, and I think everyone would be curious about how you think it made a difference for you having a publicist in terms of when the big, huge twilight of it all happened, that you didn't get sort of run over by the snowball of it.
It was a big battle within me because, like, oh yeah, I'm going to spend all this money on a publicist for my ego. I mean, that's the sort of idea I had in my head is, oh, I'm doing this just because I want attention. And what I really had to get over was that that's crap. I mean, yes, it's certainly part of it. I'm not going to I have an enormous ego. But it's what's more important is that this was, how many shots do you get to write a movie this big?
Right.
I've been doing this for 17 years. I've never had a shot like this. This was my shot. Mm-hmm. And so I was either, it was the time to take advantage of it. And, I was either going to just sit back and let it roll on, or I was going to take advantage and have this now shape the second half of my career. So I really, so getting over that, those little writery, oh, we shouldn't be,
we're not important.
We're not really important. It's ego. It's all about the work. I'm sorry, Craig, I have to disagree with you. Hold on there.
No surprise.
I wish it was all about that the work would speak for itself, but it hasn't spoken for itself in, close to a century. So it's something we all, and that's really important. We all have to get over that. It's just accept that it isn't an ideal world. And that art doesn't out. This is what it is. So put that stuff aside and go, you know what? I have a career, and if I want to do my art, if I want to do my work, and if I want to be paid for it and I want to succeed, I'd best get the hell out of that stuff and put myself in front of it.
There's a tendency to view publicity as a strictly utilitarian thing that will get you your next job, and the way that it will do that is if you get page 1 in Hollywood Reporter or page 3 with a box in Variety. And I think what I'd submit to you is that your public image is a fluid mosaic, not only of trade publicity, but also of general publicity that gets your name out there, that gets you as known as someone who is plugged into the zeitgeist and who's worth talking to.
If you're not a good talker, what Howard was saying about all the different media you have now to write. You can write a blog, you can write for HuffPost, you can write for, it's amazing how many forums there are for you to have your byline on things, just to get your style out there, or, shooting 5 minutes of your script that you love, especially if it's like a comedy script. I know a lot of managers are recommending shoot a scene from it. Then all you have, if you get someone's attention, you can say, oh, it's on YouTube. They can watch it for 5 minutes, see what your sensibility is, see whether you're funny, see whether your writing's funny. So using all these other elements that are available to you guys now is really useful, I would say, because obviously you want to write the great scripts, the great pilots. That's the first job. Second job is if you actually sell it or it's going to get made, that's where the publicity comes in. And whether you use a publicist or not, and the earlier you are in your career, you're probably not going to have a publicist. So you got to be willing and ready to take your chances when you get them.